So you have commuted a lot in the old Bengaluru, right? Do you have some fond memories of those old commuting?
Absolutely. Like my house was within walking distance of our school, so we always walked to school, and we never took a vehicle to go to school. And if at all we used the car, my father was a government servant, so he had a car with. He used to commute in a car always, and he used to drop me at college sometimes in the car. But those days, he could drive in the center of the road smoking his cigar, and there were hardly any cars on the road and hardly any buses also. So it was so free to travel in Bengaluru. And even when I walked, sometimes I walked from Corporation Circle to Central College. The rain trees used to give me a canopy of shade. I never used to carry an umbrella those days because there were always trees lining every street, and it was so pleasant. And of course, Bangalore was so well known for its good climate, and so we enjoyed all that good climate and the gardens in every house. You know, it was all not paved up and concretized like it is now. Almost 98% is concretized. Every house had an orchard, a jackfruit tree, a mango tree, a gooseberry tree, guava tree. So we were used to climbing all those trees and enjoying ourselves.
So, when you started being in Bangalore and till date you are in Bangalore, commute had been a very important part in the life.
Yeah.
In fact, for mine, for yours. So, could you compare your commute from the initial days you started in the Bangalore and now what your mode of commute is?
Well, commuting definitely was very easy, and I'll give you two, three examples of that. One, when I came from Pune, I brought my two-wheeler here, and I was using that. My office was on MG Road. I used to live in Indiranagar,
Okay.
and I used to reach in flat 10, 12 minutes.
Oh, that's
And there were hardly any traffic signals,
Hmm.
hardly any traffic. So that is one. Number two, I used to travel a lot,
Hmm.
and I used to therefore land at the airport.
Hmm.
After landing, I used to call my wife,
Hmm.
please pick me up.
Right.
So she will get the car, and I'll be standing out. And the timing was so synchronized most of the times that none of us had to wait. So that's the second experience I must quote. And actually, I did a course at the Indian Institute of Science,
Right.
and so from my MG Road office, I used to come here, attend my classes, okay, sit in the library for some time, and there again, I used to get my car from MG Road here in just 10 minutes.
So, just out of curiosity, how was Bangalore on those days during your childhood days, and any memories that stand out?
There are a lot of memories that stand out because we had a lot of trees. Margosa Road and Sampige Road, you must have gone down those roads. Margosa means neem trees, and Sampige is that flower which you get. The two trees were named like that because they were fully lined with Margosa trees and Sampige trees. And you go to any part of Malleshwaram, there used to be a large number of trees. And the tree cover has come down by almost 40%. I think it's just about 50% of what it was. Those days we had a very abysmal transport system. I don't know whether it's improved now, but we had to rely on cycles or walking. The bus system, public transport was a joke. It was known as the Bangalore Transport Service, and we used to call it the Bonda Tea Service. The driver and conductor, they would come and stop at the main terminus and disappear to have bonda and tea and coffee over. And the buses were infrequent because there was no investment in bus. The alternative was the auto rickshaws, who were as big a headache as they are now. So you had to rely on cycles or walking. It used to be a pleasure to walk in Bangalore because you had a large, roads were not so heavy, traffic was not.
To recollect my good old days, when I was young, we used to play cricket on the streets of Malleshwaram, where there was absolutely no traffic, and that was the playground for us. And having practiced for one whole week, we used to play in the nearby fields for the on the weekends for the cricket match, and the prize was that each one of us used to contribute one pencil, and the winning team used to get 22 pencils. That was their contribution, and that is how we were playing. And then when it comes to entertainment, we had about 5 or 6 theaters, single screen theaters in and around Malleshwaram, which is again in walkable distance. And there were a lot of good eateries as well. And that is how was my younger days.
Do you miss the old part of Bangalore where you used to commute in cycles? Which aspect of commuting do you miss the most?
We could walk without worrying, we could cycle. At least within Malleshwaram, we hardly ever took any. Even when I had a bike, I would never use it. You'd go by cycle or walk. That has changed now because your generation, moment you step out of your house, you want a two-wheeler or a car. I mean, sorry, but that's the truth. Because I've seen with my children, so I know what it is. So that's the tragedy. You see, you got used to certain luxuries. So you see that happening, and we didn't think of it. Once when somebody asked, when you're waiting, we used to wait at the bus stop for the call when you're coming back from college. They said, if you missed the bus, what did you do? We walked. We just started walking. My college was in Majestic. We would walk back from there. It would take about half an hour, but it's still worth it. You could walk those days.
How was the walkability, like the pedestrian provisions that were there? Was it safe and clean and comfortable?
Yes, of course, there weren't these tiled pavements. There were mostly pavements with grass where the rainwater used to soak in, And of course, we had to cross some puddles and things like that. But I think it did a lot for the ecology of Bengaluru that the pavements were allowing water to percolate. But now you have all these paved pavements and those stormwater drains or roadside drains underneath where the water is just stagnating and it's not percolating, so you don't have water even in your borewell, and you don't have water to drink also because they have concretized all the lakes also, and they used to supply us local water. We are missing all that now, but otherwise we don't have water from the local lakes, but we have flooded houses now.
Yeah.
Earlier there was no flooding because all the water is to percolate down into the groundwater. And this has caused so much of problem on the roads now, so much of flooding that it's a nightmare each time it rains in Bengaluru. Earlier we used to enjoy the rains, you know, have little boats, paper boats floating on the roadside. We used to play like that as children. Now it's just not possible, I think.
I understand that cycling was embraced back in those days, unlike these days now. Could you just tell about the mode of transport that you chose back in those days?
Cycle. Till I acquired a motorcycle, but cycle was still the preferred form of transport because it was more fun, I suppose. I don't know why. I mean, motorcycle I did use for just, I think, 2 or 3 years. Then I moved to Delhi, and so there I was using a vehicle again. In Bangalore, almost my entire early days in Bangalore was on using a cycle or the bus service. That has changed because now you cannot think of cycling in Bangalore. We used to have these races from 18th Cross. If you go down, it's a slope. Till Malleshwaram Circle, it's almost a slope. We used to have this race that you cycle from 18th Cross to 17th Cross and you stop cycling and let the cycle go on its own and see who reaches the furthest without cycling further. But that we could do because there was not much traffic. You can't think of doing it now.
What impact does transportation has played on quality of life for you in past and present times? If you could just tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, those were the days when I was walking. We never used to feel that we have walked a kilometer because we were chatting and walking because we were not scared of any vehicle. Could be counted on fingers. There were very few cars in Bangalore and very few two-wheelers on the streets of Bangalore, and so we used to walk comfortably. And then even while cycling, it was a pleasure riding the bicycle in Bangalore. And then when we were traveling on by bus, that was also quite comfortable because the buses were not as loaded as these days.
And to cater to that motorized transport, you're widening the roads. When you widen the roads, which is the first casualty? The trees. You could walk down Margosar Road without any shade in summer. That was the kind of tree cover we had. Now it's gone. The whole of Sampige Road, there used to be Sampige trees, and when the flowering season, it used to hit you. It was so strong, the smell. Now there's one tree left, I think. That's all. So this makes a quality of life, because the more the trees, the better is the. I mean, from what little of photosynthesis that I studied, is it improves the air quality. But that's the thing. We had trees in Bangalore, which was all over the place. Bangalore used to be a paradise in that respect.